Brighton Bay has a way of keeping secrets. The fog rolls in and muffles everything. For 2 years, I let it muffle me. I became a curator of fragments. A weekend here, a text message there. I built a whole person out of partial attention. And then one day, I looked at the collection and saw it was just debris. This video is an investigation, not of him, but of the space I occupied. What does it mean to love in the negative space of someone else's life? And how do you cross back over into the positive? Join me. We have the time. My name is Daniela. I live in Brighton Bay, a small town not far from the city. It's quiet here, with calm streets, cozy cafes, and the constant, gentle sound of the waves. I'm 29, and I work as a receptionist at a small beachfront hotel. My life was simple. Some might have called it boring, but I liked it that way. I had my close friends, my small apartment, and a routine that felt safe. After a few bad relationships, I'd decided love wasn't worth the risk. It was easier, I told myself, to stay alone. Then I met Michael. He arrived at the hotel on a business trip. He looked different from our usual guests. Calm, polite, and with a gentle sort of tiredness in his eyes. He had a soft way of speaking, and when he thanked me after check-in, it felt genuine, personal. I found myself smiling back without even thinking about it. He stayed for 2 weeks. Every evening, after his work was done, he'd come to the lobby and we'd talk. We walked to the beach, sat by the lighthouse, and shared stories about our lives. His stressful job in the city, my quiet existence here. He listened, really listened, in a way most people don't. I felt seen. One night, walking under a blanket of stars with a soft breeze coming off the water, he turned to me. "Being with you feels like peace," he said. Those words settled deep in my heart. I think I started falling for him right then. When he left Brighton Bay, we kept in touch. Daily messages, long phone calls every night. I missed him more than I thought possible. A month later, he came back, renting a small house near the harbor. We made dinner together, danced in the kitchen, and it felt like we'd known each other for years. I felt lucky. A sharp, quiet inhale. The tone shifts, becoming tense, foreboding. It was the evening everything changed. We were on the couch, drinking tea, when his expression turned serious. "Daniela, I need to tell you something." My heart began to race. The following lines are delivered with a hollow, gut-punched quality. Each sentence is a separate, painful revelation. "I'm married," he said, looking at the floor. "I have 2 children." The world froze. I couldn't speak, couldn't move. My hands went cold. His dialogue is heard as if through a tunnel, muffled, distant. "I didn't expect to meet you," he continued, his voice low. "My marriage, it's not good. We live in the same house, but there's no love left. I stay for the children, that's all." I stood up, wordless, and walked outside into the cold night air. He followed. "I understand if you don't want to see me again," he said. I just nodded and walked home, the sound of the ocean feeling suddenly harsh and loud. For a week, I was lost. I couldn't focus. My heart and mind were at war. I told myself to forget him, but I couldn't. A week later, I met him near the beach. I told him I felt hurt, betrayed by his secrecy. He didn't make excuses. He only said, "I care about you." And I stayed. I know it was wrong. I know what people would say. I became the other woman. But in that moment, I wanted to believe him. I wanted to believe his situation was temporary, that maybe one day he'd choose me. We began a life in secret. He'd visit Brighton Bay once or twice a month. I'd go to the little house after work. We cooked, talked, watched old movies. In those moments, he made me feel incredibly special. He remembered every little thing I said. He brought me books I'd mentioned once. It felt real. But it was a dream confined to four walls. We never went out in public. No photos, no dates, no plans for a future. He left no trace of himself at the house. No clothes, no toothbrush. It was as if he had two lives, and in one of them, I didn't exist. Slowly, my world shrank to the size of that house and the wait for his next visit. I said no to friends. I scheduled my life around his. I was always waiting for a text, a call, for the few hours of love he could spare. I'd look in the mirror and see a woman who didn't smile as much anymore. My friend Nia, the only one who knew, finally said, "You deserve to be first, Daniela. You should be with someone who's proud to love you, someone who walks with you in the daylight, not just hides with you in the dark." Her words echoed in the quiet. The change didn't happen overnight. It was a slow dawning, like the sun fighting through a thick fog. One evening, after Michael had left, I sat by the window, watching the rain, and asked myself aloud, what am I doing with my life? I had dreams of my own, a home, a family, a love that was whole and open. Instead, I had empty rooms and a heart constantly braced for goodbyes. The next time he visited, I was quiet. "What's wrong?" he asked, bringing flowers as he always did. "I don't know if I can keep doing this," I said. "I feel like I'm living in your shadow. I'm always waiting. I want more." He looked surprised, then pained. "I love you, Daniela. You know that." "Then why don't you choose me?" He looked away. "It's not that easy. I have children, a family." "And what am I?" He had no answer. That silence was the loudest thing I'd ever heard. He would never leave. Not for me. The truth, finally, was undeniable. After he left, I stopped responding to his messages. I needed to breathe. I started walking the beach every morning, letting the wind clear my head. I began writing in a notebook, pouring out my confusion and grief. With every page, I felt a little stronger. He showed up at my door a week later. "I needed to see you," he said. We talked for a long time. I told him about the waiting, about feeling second, about losing myself. "I love you," I said. "Maybe I always will, but I need a real life. I want someone who can give me all of their heart, not just the pieces they can spare." He looked devastated. "I can't leave them, Daniela. I've tried to imagine it, but I can't do that to my children." I nodded. I understood. And more importantly, I understood this was my ending. A long, accepting pause. The goodbye is soft, sincere. "I hope you find peace," I told him. "I hope we both do." He hugged me. "I'm sorry," he whispered. Then he walked away. That night, I cried a deep, cleansing cry. The pain was sharp, but it was honest. A subtle shift. The voice grows lighter, more present, as if stepping into a new space. Healing took time. The days were long at first, filled with a hollow ache, but slowly, I returned to myself. I had coffee with Nia. I read books by the fire. I took a writing class at the community center, just for me. One evening after class, I stopped into a corner bookstore. A man browsing the travel section smiled at me. He looked familiar. "Hi," he said. "You're in a writing class, right? I'm David." We talked about the class, about books, about nothing and everything. He was easy to talk to. His presence was calm, steady. We started meeting for coffee after class. Weeks later, sitting on a bench watching a sunset paint the sky, I told him about Michael. The confession is not heavy, but clear and simple. I was always second. I don't want that kind of love again. He was quiet for a moment. Then he said, his voice is gentle, firm, and kind. "Thank you for telling me. I think you're brave, and you deserve better." David never rushed me. He never asked for more than I could give. He simply stood beside me, a quiet, steady presence as I rebuilt my life. With him, I learned that love doesn't have to hurt. It doesn't have to be a secret. It should feel safe. It should feel like coming home. The final lines are spoken with quiet, hard-won wisdom and profound certainty. Looking back, I don't regret my past. It taught me that love without respect is just longing, that waiting for someone who cannot choose you is a prison of your own making, and that peace isn't something someone else gives you. You have to find it within yourself. Now I have peace. I have hope. I have a love that walks beside me in the daylight. If you ask me today, was it worth it? I would say yes, because through all the sadness, I found myself. And in finding myself, I opened the door to the kind of love I truly deserved.